I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to,
I think I was 21 this year. I turned 22.
They were the golden children of a generation. He was the boy wonder who rose from YouTube to superstardom, and she was the Disney princess with a voice that could melt hearts. Together, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez became more than a couple. They became an era. But behind the flashing cameras and the perfect smiles, something darker was growing. An obsession, a cycle. A love story that wasn't built to survive the world watching. It started like a fairy tale. Two teenagers falling in love under the blinding light of fame. Paparazzi chased them through airports, fans camped outside their hotels, and every whisper between them became breaking news. When they held hands, Twitter exploded. When they broke up, the world broke with them. But as the years passed, that fairy tale started to rot. Selena's eyes, once full of light, began to reflect exhaustion. Justin's smile, once innocent, became sharp, defensive, and lost. There were tears, hospital visits, therapy sessions, and betrayals whispered through music. Love me like you do, lose you to love me, sorry. Every song sounded like another chapter in their war of hearts. By the time Justin stood before the world and slipped a ring on another woman's finger, the internet didn't know whether to scream or to cry, because deep down, everyone was still addicted to Jelena. This wasn't just a breakup. It was a cultural collapse. A generation that grew up believing in them suddenly realized that even the most magical love stories could burn to ashes under the spotlight. But the question that still haunts millions of fans is simple. What really happened behind the scenes? How did a love that once defined pop culture turn into a storm of heartbreak, addiction, and rivalry? And why does the ghost of that relationship still haunt both of them, years after it ended? This is the untold story of Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. A story of obsession, fame, and the price of loving someone when the whole world is watching. Before there was Jelena, there were just two kids with impossible dreams. Each came from a world so different that when their paths finally crossed, the collision was bound to shake everything. Selena Gomez grew up in Grand Prairie, Texas, a small town where the biggest dream was often just making it out. Her mother, Mandy, had her at 16, a teenage girl trying to raise another. The house they lived in was small, the bills often overdue, but Mandy carried a fierce determination that burned straight into Selena's heart. Selena once said, "I watched my mom struggle, and I promised myself I'd never let her down." That promise became her engine. From small theater roles to a Disney audition that would change her life, Selena climbed her way out of obscurity with quiet strength. By 2007, she was the shining face of Wizards of Waverly Place. Teen magazines called her the next big thing. But behind the camera, Selena was already learning how heavy fame could feel. She was kind, polite, but guarded. A girl who smiled for the crowd, but wrote in her diary that she missed being normal. Meanwhile, Justin Bieber was living a different kind of miracle. Born in Stratford, Ontario, raised by a single mom named Patty, he grew up in a small town too. But his path to fame was lightning fast. His mom uploaded home videos of him singing on YouTube, never imagining that a talent manager named Scooter Braun would stumble upon them. By age 15, Justin was standing in front of Usher, signing a record deal, and being labeled the new Michael Jackson. It was too much, too soon. His rise wasn't just meteoric, it was explosive. One day he was a boy singing on the streets of Canada. The next he was selling out arenas, chased by screaming fans who camped outside his hotel room. And with that fame came something no teenager could be ready for. Obsession. The world wanted every piece of Justin, his hair, his laugh, his girlfriends. So when he met Selena, the girl every young fan adored, but who also seemed grounded and genuine, it felt like fate. She was the calm to his storm. He was the thrill she never had. At first, they were just friends. But their connection was instant, the kind that feels effortless and dangerous all at once. Justin admired her maturity, the way she didn't fawn over him like everyone else. Selena saw in him a sweet, lost boy beneath the fame, someone who still carried that small-town innocence she recognized in herself. but their worlds couldn't have been more different. Selena had grown up learning restraint, how to hold it together even when everything fell apart. Justin had grown up learning adrenaline, that attention and chaos were his oxygen. That difference was magnetic, but it was also the seed of every fight that would follow. Because where Selena longed for peace, Justin craved noise. Where she healed in silence, he exploded on stage. And when love entered that equation, it became a balancing act between two people trying to save each other, while still trying to save themselves. By 2010, when they were first spotted together, they were just teenagers. But they were also global brands. Selena was Disney's crown jewel. Justin was the prince of pop. And neither had been taught how to love when the world was watching or how to survive it when it fell apart. It began quietly, a friendship that seemed too pure to be anything else. But the way they looked at each other told a different story. By late 2010, whispers began to spread. Are Justin and Selena dating? They were spotted at an IHOP in Philadelphia, sharing pancakes, laughing like two kids who'd found something the world could never take away. For a moment, they were just that. Two teenagers in love. But when you're Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, nothing stays simple for long. In February 2011, they stepped onto the red carpet together at the Vanity Fair Oscar party. Selena wore a red gown, Justin a matching pocket square. It was the first time they confirmed what fans already knew. Jelena was real. The internet exploded. Fan pages multiplied overnight. Headlines called them the new generation's royal couple. Girls who had once dreamed of marrying Justin Bieber cried online. Others celebrated, saying, "At least it's Selena." Together, they were untouchable. They vacationed in Hawaii, shared kisses on yachts, walked through airports hand in hand, chased by hundreds of flashing lights. Each appearance became an event. Each photo, a sensation. But behind those perfect images, the pressure was mounting. Justin was 17, Selena 19, still figuring out who they were, while the world demanded they be perfect. Every argument was magnified, every smile analyzed. Selena once told a friend, "It's not just dating him, it's dating the world." As Justin's fame exploded, so did the chaos around him. Fan obsession turned toxic. Death threats filled Selena's inbox. Hashtags like Chorka's Jelena forever and Nash Selena leave Justin alone trended side by side. She was called names, accused of using him for publicity, even though she was already famous long before him. Through it all, she smiled. She stayed silent. Justin, meanwhile, tried to protect her, at least at first. He would post sweet messages, call her my baby, and talk about her in interviews like a man truly in love. But he was still a teenager, surrounded by noise, fame, temptation, attention, and he started to change. As his career exploded globally with Believe, he began spending more time on the road, often surrounded by people who told him yes to everything. Selena, more grounded, was filming, writing music, trying to hold on to normalcy. Their love turned into long-distance phone calls, jealous messages, and quiet tears before award shows. But when they were together, it was still magic. They had that chemistry that made even a simple glance feel cinematic. By 2012, though, the cracks were visible. Rumors of Justin flirting with models started circulating. Paparazzi caught them arguing in parking lots. Selena, who had always believed in privacy, began to pull away. Justin didn't understand why she needed distance. She didn't understand why he couldn't slow down. One of their friends would later say, they were two people in love, but they were living in different universes, and neither knew how to come back. By November 2012, it was over, or at least it was supposed to be. Selena ended it quietly, telling the press she was doing fine, though her eyes told a different story. Justin posted cryptic tweets, broken hearts, song lyrics, apologies. He performed Nothing Like Us, his voice trembling on stage. Fans begged them to reunite. And deep down, both of them wanted to. But love that public, that intense, doesn't heal easily. Selena released Love Will Remember, a song many called her goodbye letter. In it, she sang, "Love will remember you, love will remember me." And for millions, it felt like the end of a fairy tale. The kind of ending that leaves everyone asking why something so perfect couldn't last. But what no one knew was that this wasn't the end. Not even close. It was just the beginning of a story that would spiral through heartbreak, addiction, faith, betrayal, and still somehow connection. Because as much as they tried to walk away, the gravity between them always pulled them back. And the next time they met, the fairy tale would turn into something far more dangerous. When they first broke up in 2012, the world assumed it was over. But love like theirs doesn't die. It festers. In 2013, Selena was everywhere. Movie premieres, new singles, interviews, always smiling, always saying she was fine. But her friends noticed something. Behind every red carpet grin, there was exhaustion. Her songs became darker, slower, full of quiet ache. Justin, on the other hand, was falling apart in public. The boy who once sang Baby was now being chased not by fans, but by headlines. Street racing in Miami. Angry outbursts at paparazzi. Arrests, drugs, tattoos multiplying across his skin like armor. He was no longer the golden boy. He was the rebel. And yet every time he hit bottom, he called her. And almost every time she answered. They'd meet in hotel rooms or parking lots, always trying again. Each reunion felt electric. Desperate, like trying to relight a fire that kept burning them both. Selena wanted to save him. She saw the scared boy beneath the chaos, the one who used to write her love notes and sing to her backstage. But Justin didn't need saving. He needed healing, and he wasn't ready for that. Every time she pulled him closer, the darkness pulled him farther away. Friends warned her, he's not the same Justin anymore. But Selena couldn't let go. You can't choose who you love, she once said quietly in an interview. Meanwhile, Justin surrounded himself with people who fed the fame. House parties, endless girls, nights that blurred into mornings. And through it all, he kept finding ways to bring Selena back into his orbit. A text, a song, a look. When he released Heartbreaker in 2013, fans knew exactly who it was about. Selena's heart ached hearing it, but part of her also smiled. Because even in chaos, he was still singing about her. But that same year, she checked herself into treatment for emotional exhaustion. The pressure, the scrutiny, the endless speculation, it was too much. And when she came back, she was different, stronger, quieter, guarded. Justin noticed. He began to post old photos of them. His way of calling her out, reminding her that their story wasn't over. Then came 2014, the year everything exploded. Justin was arrested in Miami. The mugshot went viral. He looked lost, eyes glassy, smirk forced, a boy drowning in his own fame. The public mocked him. Selena, watching from afar, broke down. She told her friends she still cared, but she couldn't do this anymore. I'm done being the villain in his story, she said, but neither could fully move on. They'd break up in March and be seen together in June. They'd unfollow each other, then post cryptic lyrics the next week. It wasn't just love anymore. It was addiction to the chaos, to the memory, to each other. By 2015, Justin was trying to rebuild. He found faith, reconnected with old mentors, and began working on new music. Selena was doing the same, channeling her pain into her album Revival, but their stories were still intertwined. In Justin's hit Sorry, listeners heard the ache of regret. Yeah, I know that I let you down. In Selena's The Heart Wants What It Wants, her voice cracked as she whispered, I thought I could save you. They were speaking to each other through songs, like ghosts still haunting the same stage. But while the world was romanticizing their connection, both were privately unraveling. Selena's health deteriorated. Lupus, anxiety, heartbreak. Justin's circle shrank. He was trying to find redemption, but the shadow of his past, and of her, never left. By the end of 2015, they were both growing, but apart. Selena told Rolling Stone, I'll always care for him, but sometimes love isn't enough. And Justin, in an emotional interview, confessed, she's someone I love deeply, but the relationship was toxic. For the first time, they both said the word out loud, toxic. It was no longer about blame. It was about survival. They had become two people who loved each other too hard, too young, for too long. And in trying to hold on, they had both lost themselves. But as the dust settled, no one could predict what would happen next, because fate, or maybe habit, had one more cruel twist waiting for them. By the time 2017 arrived, both Justin and Selena had lived lifetimes in their 20s. They had loved, lost, healed, and tried to move on. Or at least that's what everyone thought. Selena was dating The Weeknd, an artist as private as she was guarded. Justin had been linked to dozens of models and rumored flings, but nothing serious ever lasted. The public believed Jelena was a ghost, a memory buried beneath tabloid dust. Then one Sunday morning in October 2017, everything changed. Photos surfaced of Selena and Justin riding bikes together in Los Angeles, smiling like time had never passed. The internet went into meltdown. Are they back together? What about The Weeknd? Why does she always go back? Hours later, news broke. Selena and The Weeknd had split. By that night, Justin was spotted leaving her house. By the end of the week, they were attending church together, hand in hand. To their fans, it felt like destiny. To their friends, it felt like deja vu. To them, it felt like hope. Both had changed. Selena had nearly died from lupus complications that year, undergoing a kidney transplant from her best friend. Justin had found faith again, attending Hillsong Church and seeking stability. For a moment, it seemed like the timing was finally right. Maybe this time, they could make it work. But love, no matter how deep, cannot erase the scars of the past. Their reconciliation was passionate but fragile. They were spotted kissing at an ice rink, laughing at breakfast diners, holding hands in church pews. But when the cameras weren't there, the same old wounds resurfaced. Trust, jealousy, the weight of history. Selena's friends worried. One told People magazine, she knows what she's getting into, but she can't help it. It's Justin. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it ended. In March 2018, reports confirmed they had split again. This time, for good. Selena went silent. Justin disappeared from her world. And then, in July 2018, came the shock that shattered the internet. Justin Bieber was engaged to Hailey Baldwin. The headlines hit like thunder. Only 4 months after breaking up with Selena, Justin had proposed to another woman, and she had said yes. The world stopped breathing for a moment. Selena, quiet and dignified, posted a series of smiling selfies on a yacht with friends. Sunlight on her face, wine in her hand. But those close to her said she cried for days. She had watched the man she had loved for nearly a decade promise forever to someone else. And worse, she found out about it the same way the rest of the world did. On Instagram. The public was merciless. Social media split into sides, Team Selena versus Team Hailey. Every song lyric, every post, every expression was dissected for meaning. Selena tried to stay above it. She released Lose You to Love Me the following year, a quiet, devastating goodbye. In it, she sang, "You promised the world and I fell for it. I needed to lose you to find me." It was her final message. Not just to Justin, but to the version of herself that had loved him for so long she forgot who she was. Justin, meanwhile, told Vogue that same year that his marriage to Hailey was redemptive, but also admitted he still carried emotional baggage. He said, "I let my past relationships affect how I treated people. I was reckless." For fans, it was confirmation of what they had always suspected, that he had never fully healed from Selena. By then, the internet had turned their love story into mythology. The innocent boy, the wounded girl, the fairy tale that became a cautionary tale. Every time Justin performed Ghost or Selena spoke about self-love, the ghost of Jelena reappeared online, trending like a wound that never closed. That was the day the fairy tale truly died. Not because they stopped loving each other, but because they finally accepted they couldn't survive together. They had spent years trying to rewrite the ending. But some stories aren't meant to have happy endings. Some are meant to teach you who you are before you lose yourself completely. When Justin Bieber announced his engagement to Hailey Baldwin in July 2018, the internet didn't celebrate. It combusted. It wasn't just a headline, it was the end of an era. The Selena Forever generation, millions who had grown up watching their love, suddenly felt betrayed, confused, and obsessed all over again. How could he move on so fast? Was he ever really over Selena? Did she even know? Within hours, the hashtags Just Team Selena and Team Haley flooded Twitter. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was war. Selena Gomez stayed silent. She didn't post cryptic quotes or breakup ballads. Not yet. Instead, she retreated from the spotlight, focusing on her health and recovery after a difficult kidney transplant and mental breakdown. Behind closed doors, she was struggling with anxiety and depression. The endless speculation, her body, her music, her past, became suffocating. She entered a treatment center again later that year, quietly, without publicity. Meanwhile, Justin tried to convince the world and himself that he had found peace. His Instagram became a mix of worship, gratitude, and declarations of love for Haley. But between the lines, you could see something else: exhaustion. In one post, he admitted, "I was going through a lot. I'm not proud of my past, but I'm learning to forgive myself." Still, the world refused to let them move on. Every time Justin released a song, the comments filled with, "Where's Selena?" Every time Selena posted a photo, people tagged Haley. The triangle became permanent, a shadow neither of them could escape. In 2019, when Selena finally broke her silence through her song Lose You to Love Me, it felt like closure, but also resurrection. The lyrics hit like a confession. "In 2 months, you replaced us." Like it was easy. It was raw, vulnerable. For the first time, Selena didn't sound angry. She sounded free. The song topped the charts, became her first #1 on Billboard, and served as a global anthem for healing. It wasn't revenge, it was rebirth. Justin, on the other hand, struggled under the spotlight of marriage. His mental health declined, and in 2020, he opened up about his battles with depression and Lyme disease. Haley stood by him, loyal and protective, but fans never stopped comparing her to Selena. No matter how much they loved each other, Haley and Justin lived in a ghost house, one haunted by the memory of another woman. By 2021, Selena had fully transformed. She had founded Rare Beauty, started her mental health foundation, and begun speaking openly about self-worth. She appeared radiant, softer, wiser, grounded. In interviews, when asked about Justin, she never attacked. She simply said, "I'm happy. I found closure." But the internet wasn't ready for closure. Every few months, a new video would go viral. Haley rolling her eyes at the mention of Selena, or fans claiming she copied Selena's style. The tension boiled again in 2023 when Haley posted a TikTok that fans believed mocked Selena. The result? A digital wildfire. Selena gained 10 million followers in a week. Haley lost hundreds of thousands. Death threats flooded both their accounts. It became ugly, far beyond either woman's control. Finally, Selena stepped in, not as the victim, but as the voice of reason. She wrote, "This isn't what I stand for. No one deserves hate. Let's be kind." Days later, she and Haley were photographed together at a charity event, standing side by side, smiling softly. It wasn't reconciliation. It was peace. For a moment, the world paused, and then it moved on. But in truth, the ghost of Jelena never left. Because what Justin and Selena shared wasn't just a romance, it was a mirror for an entire generation. It reflected how love could become addiction, how fame could magnify heartbreak, and how the internet could turn two human beings into symbols they never asked to be. Behind the screens, they were just two people trying to survive, growing up in front of billions. And in the quiet that followed, Justin focused on his marriage, faith, and family, while Selena turned pain into purpose, helping others heal from theirs. They stopped speaking publicly about each other, but both continued to carry traces of that story. In their lyrics, their interviews, their eyes, because some loves don't fade. They just change shape. They stop being about the other person and start being about who you become after them. Every great love story leaves something behind. For Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, it wasn't just heartbreak, it was transformation. They were only kids when they fell for each other, too young to understand what it meant to carry the weight of the world's gaze. Every kiss became a headline, every fight a scandal. What should have been private, fragile, real, was torn apart by millions of strangers who wanted a piece of them. But out of that chaos came two people who learned to rebuild. Selena found strength in stillness. She stopped chasing what broke her and began healing what fame had stolen, her peace. Through rare beauty in her foundation, she turned pain into purpose, teaching millions of young women that self-worth doesn't come from love. It comes from within. Justin found redemption through faith and responsibility. He faced the demons fame had created, from addiction to anger, and began to see love not as a rescue mission, but as a daily act of choice. In Haley, he found stability, not the electric chaos of his teenage romance, but something gentler, steady. They no longer speak of each other, but they no longer need to. Their silence is the truest kind of closure, one built not on resentment, but on understanding. Because the truth is, they never really lost each other. They just outgrew the versions of themselves that once fit together. Their story has become legend, a modern cautionary tale about the price of loving under the spotlight. Yet beyond the drama, beyond the hashtags and headlines, there's something achingly human about it. They taught a generation that sometimes love isn't meant to last forever. It's meant to change you. Selena said it best in an interview years later. "I'll always have love for him, but I'm thankful I don't need it anymore." And Justin, in his own quiet way, echoed that sentiment when he wrote, "We don't lose the people we love, we carry them. Their paths may never cross again, but their echoes still linger in every sad song, every whispered memory, every fan who once believed that love could conquer anything." Maybe that's the real ending of Jelena, not tragedy, not betrayal, but growth, because sometimes the most beautiful thing two people can do for each other is finally let go.